President Trump's 100-day report card is coming in soon, and things aren't looking too good. Unfortunately for President Trump right now, his approval rating in terms of the economy has dropped to the lowest in his presidential career.
CNBC poll surveyed 1,000 Americans across the country, and the poll found that 43% of respondents approved of Trump's handling of the economy, 55% disapproved. 49% believe that the economy will get worse over the next year. The poll has a margin of error of plus or minus 3.1%.
Trump is also down 23 points from his first term with independents on the economic issue.
CNN's data guru, Harry Enton, one of my favorites, sat down with Mediaites Aidan McLaughlin last week. Here he is on the importance of the economy for Republicans.
It's completely on the table that the Republican brand could collapse. It has not yet, but it absolutely could. 100% if the economy goes south, it will take Republican House members with them.
Enton did add, however, that the Democratic Party's brand was in the absolute gutter and that this might be the one thing that's currently saving Trump and the GOP. So, Bofta, I was not a fan of the tariff policy. I think there were a lot of self-inflicted wounds going on. I think it is one thing to argue for strategic tariffs against China for national security reasons, or also to argue that we're going to do reciprocal tariffs with the goal of convincing the rest of the world to actually get rid of their tariffs as well. The problem was there were a lot of mixed messages coming out of the White House. You had I would say the smarter members of the Trump team like Scott Bessent and others making that argument. Meanwhile, you had the less smart members of the administration, Peter Navarro, making the argument that we were going to keep the tariffs in place forever in order to, return all manufacturing to the U.S. or whatever, which was never going to happen because the pain was immediate, the markets crashed, and the tariffs, there was relenting immediately. So I think that was not a good idea. I would remind even people who are supportive of the tariffs on the MAGA side that there will not be public support. This mandate, this power, this moment the GOP has to implement actual policy will not last forever, and the public support, the mandate Trump needs to carry out his policies will disappear, will evaporate if the economy does poorly. That and immigration are why Trump got returned to power, to fix inflation, to keep the prices of things low. If you do tariffs, if you crash the economy, that's not going to happen. So I'm not surprised to see a little bit of this showing up in the polling.
Well, right. And I think a lot of Americans are looking for their savvy master deal maker. And where is he? Right now, we just hear a lot of shoot from the hip, lack of strategy. It seems to be the decision making is, one day this, one day that, especially with the tariffs, as you mentioned. So I think that there's a lot of trust that's been lost. But on the flip side of things, 77 million Americans did vote for Trump. And I do think that they're going to give him grace, many of them, for the first 100 days. But once you get into that 6-month mark, we're going to see if this will really impact Republican midterms next November, how this will, if it doesn't get better, how this will really impact the whole party. But I think he has some grace because folks have so much faith in him who are the very loyal supporters. Unfortunately, in all of this, I think that the Democrats have not seized the moment. So they haven't leveraged it like I think other previous administrations might have seen. You just haven't seen that messaging, that strong messaging come out, and it's been inconsistent. So unfortunately, despite all that's happening, despite what we're seeing with the numbers, you're not seeing the Democratic Party also come in and swoop in and make sure that those voters who are now on the fence about him are definitely on their side. They're looking really at two things they don't want, and that's not where you want to be.
Yeah, and Harry Enton, that pollster we just showed, I've done a couple radars on his analysis, pointing out that Trump's approval ratings, his numbers, his favorability scores, all those things, they're not terrible. they're not in like the 30s or something. It's somewhere between 40 or 50 or even higher percent. He retains basically about as much support as he did on Election Day. The Dems are not making the gains in terms of the poll numbers that you would be expecting for them to actually retake the House. Now the House majority that Republicans have is so narrow that it's very easy to imagine the Democrats retaking it. I think that would be the expected result. It's just usual that the House flips after in the midterm elections after you have one party in power. We have thermostatic public opinion. Incumbency is like no advantage anymore. It's a negative. We put some new person in charge. We're like, no, we hate them. We go back the other way. That's just the way the country works. But you would be expecting to see a little bit more favorable polling emerging for Democrats by now. It's not there yet. Might get there, but it's not there yet.
Well, and we also haven't mentioned that Elon Musk is unpopular. We see what happened in Wisconsin, even though he threw a bunch of money at the race. Elon Musk is unpopular. He's actually quieted down a little bit lately in the past couple of weeks. And I say quiet down for him.
He's only tweeted every 6 seconds. His days as a special government employee are coming to an end. I expect him to remain a very, very important figure within the Trump world, the Trump orbit. I could be wrong, but that's what I expect.
Right, but if we go to polling and so forth, I think that you might be right. I don't think they'll be besties forever, though. This is probably, I would give it a year.
They might be besties forever.
I'd give it a year.
Well, yeah. Elon's polling is not good, but Elon's not the candidate.
Well, right, but
you're right. If Elon was on the ballot, that would be disaster. But Trump's
Trump,
the candidate. Elon is the
sure,
financier.
but they're aligned. They're aligned. They're like besties. That's your line. So usually if you didn't want that friend, you sometimes don't like the other friend, just because of association. So I think a lot of people were disappointed that Elon Musk seemed to, even if he wasn't, seemed to be pulling a lot of strings and given so much power and influence. And I don't think that Trump's voters expected that piece of it in the first 100 days. They didn't expect Elon to have wield so much influence over the president.
I was pleasantly surprised that he was wielding so much power and influence. And I know
I
only get one vote, but I would
vote
to continue that partnership as long as possible. I think it's been wonderfully effective. Next up, the Dems infighting rages on. DNC Vice Chair David Hogg responds to James Carville calling him a twerp. That's next.